So we've sold a couple vehicles. I just bought a new one. We've got some really massive adventures planned for the next year. And I just got home from an 11-day trip with my wife. We're going to talk about all that and more in this episode of Garage Coffee. But I'm thinking about changing the name. Maybe we won't call it Garage Coffee anymore. Welcome to TrailRecon. I'm Brad, and today we're in the garage and we've got a lot to talk about. And if you've never visited us for one of these episodes of Garage Coffee, which I still think I'm going to change that name, this is where we just talk about all things off-road, camping, YouTube, life, really anything goes. And I started this whole episode series during the height of COVID when we were locked down, and it was just a good way to come in here and talk to you guys about stuff. But you guys have really enjoyed these conversations, and so it's something I want to continue. And we've actually done one at camp, and I'm thinking about doing more when we're out at camp or when we're at events, or we'll still do them here in the garage. I just don't think Garage Coffee is the right name, so I'm contemplating coming up with a different name. So if you have a suggestion for a name like Coffee with Brad or One Take Coffees, or I don't know, whatever, somebody out there's probably got a way better idea than I do, put it down in the comments below. And also, I'm thinking of maybe pulling the audio out of these and posting them up for a podcast. So if you don't want to watch this, you could listen to it in your car while you're driving down the road, going to work, maybe on your next adventure. Something I'm kind of toying with the idea about, so let me know, what do you think about a podcast of these? I think it'd be kind of cool. Okay, we've got a lot to talk about. And the first thing I want to talk about is, where have I been for the last 2 weeks? So no videos have been posted in the last 2 weeks, and that's because my wife and I set out on a road trip, just the two of us. It was such a nice vacation. I did film along the way, but it's definitely a different style video than I've done in the past because we weren't really off-roading and camping. While we did a very little bit of that, most of it was just road trips. We actually stayed at some hotels, ate some nice restaurants. We just had a great time. But we went and saw some cool places. We went to Zion, did some hiking up there. We went to Yellowstone, which Yellowstone blew my mind. I knew that was going to be an awesome place to visit, but far exceeded my expectations. We'll definitely be going back there. Then we went to Colorado and visited some family, came through Arizona, did some kayaking down a place called Antelope Canyon, which was must do. So I'll be working on that video and kind of editing it a little bit. It's a different style video than I've done in the past, but I think you guys will enjoy checking out the places we visited. But something that's been heavy on my mind for a long time is places outside of Southern California, and going and visiting, and having spent 11 days on the road and hitting 8 states along the way, it really kind of amplified the fact that I want to get out further and further and further and start visiting some other states and go do some wheeling in some other states and camping. I mean, it's something I've wanted to do, but now the fire is just lit and I'm going to do it. And so the plan is, some big events over the next year is I'm going to do, well, I don't know if it's going to happen all in the next year, but in the next 18 to 24 months, I'm going to visit every single state in the United States. I'm going to camp in every state and hopefully can hit a trail in every state. Now, that might be tough because I'm sure there's not a lot of public lands in places like Rhode Island or whatever, so we'll figure something out. But my goal is to go hit all the states across the U.S., including Alaska. And yes, we're going to ship out the vehicle to Hawaii and do something out there. That'll be cool. I just think it'll be awesome. And maybe we can do some meetups when we're out and about because we do a lot of meetups here on the West Coast, but we haven't done any out on the East Coast, so that would be totally cool. There's so much to see in the United States, and after this trip, it's just really lit a fire. I want to go out and start seeing some things. So that is coming. Super excited about this next year. Now, I should mention that I'm not going to do it all at once. We're going to go hit a couple states, come home for a few weeks, go hit a couple other states, come home for a few weeks. So we'll do it in sections. Sometimes, my son Jordan will come with me. I know he's stoked about it. We got to take some leave from the military or whatever, but he'll come out. Maybe my wife, Marco, whoever. Maybe sometimes I'll go solo. But that's what I want to do. I want to go see the United States. Can you tell I'm excited about that? I'm super excited about what we're going to be working on. Okay. What else we got? I got a bunch of notes here, and I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Oh yeah, patches. What are these patches for? So that's kind of the icing on the cake. So I have a patch from all 50 states. And so as I visit a place in New York and Texas and Arizona or wherever, one of these patches will go on, I think we'll put it on the roof of the vehicle. And we're talking about vehicles here in a minute, but I got all 50 states. I just got these on Amazon. They weren't very expensive, but I wanted to have something and be like, all right, we hit this state, done, check, mark in the box. That's what we're going to do. So that's what those are for. Okay. Speaking of vehicles, a lot has happened very quickly here on the TrailRecon as far as what vehicles we have in the driveway, in the garage, and so I just want to talk a little bit about those now. First and foremost, we did sell the XJ, and I talked about that a little while ago. My voice is cracking, Jordan. I need to drink coffee. Hang on. He's over there laughing at me like I'm going through puberty. We did sell the XJ, and we did talk about that. Jordan and his brother Justin, that was their vehicle for a long time. We found a great home for it. Actually, it's just down the street. We drive by it every day. We know it's in good hands. It's being well taken care of. And we ended up buying Justin, Jordan's brother, a 2014 Jeep Cherokee. What is it? The WK, I think it is. Not WK. Ooh, KL. Ooh, I should know that right off the top of my head, and I don't. Anyway, and really it's basically a crossover, right? It's not a hardcore off-road vehicle. The goal with that is for him to have something that's fuel efficient and is reliable, something the XJ was not, agreed? Yeah. Was not. And so we may start tinkering with that down the road, but right now he's just happy to have something that's got some nice creature comforts, gets great gas mileage, and is comfortable. But we may have to mess with that a little bit. So the XJ is gone. I know that's heartbreaking for many, but this next one is, this might be heartbreaking for a lot of viewers. This was a tough decision, wasn't it, buddy?
Yeah, it was.
Jordan sold the TJ. And so let's talk about that for a second. So we no longer have the 2006.
Yeah, 2006.
2006 Jeep Wrangler. I was forgetting what year it was. So when Jordan was in Okinawa, Japan, in the military over there, he was dreaming about what he was going to buy when he got home, and he was saving up his money, and he was texting me back and forth pictures of vehicles, and he knew he wanted a Rubicon. He knew he wanted a Jeep. He knew he could afford a TJ that was in his price range. He wanted an automatic. He wanted a hardtop. He wanted full-size doors, and he wanted a good stereo. Out of those 7, he got four of them. So here's the thing. The compromise for the soft top, the compromise that it was a manual, and the compromise for the half doors, we did because it was such a great price. It was a great deal. I mean, it was a great vehicle, low miles, 79,000.
We bought it at 79.
79,000 miles on that thing, and it was perfect. I mean, all the other ones we looked at were just like, weren't very nice. They had been modified and not done well, or they'd had high miles. And so we made some of those compromises to get that TJ. And the challenge is he's stationed, what is it, about a 45-minute drive?
50 minutes to an hour.
So he's about an hour away, and he comes home several days a week, and so he's putting a lot of miles on. He's spending a lot of time on the road. And if you have driven a TJ for hours at a time with a soft top and a manual and half doors, it's not very comfortable. It's a little loud. The gas mileage was, what were you getting?
I want to say around 11 to 12.
11 to 12 miles a gallon, so he's putting a lot of miles on there. So he just was not happy. Off-road is great. He's loving it off-road. He's over there shaking his head yes, but not loving it on his drives. And so, we had a long conversation about it, and it was just the right decision to sell it. And so he sold it, and I think he's happy about the decision. He's a little sad to see it go because we put a little bit of work into it. Yeah. But what are you driving now?
The JK.
He has the keys to my 2015 Jeep Wrangler JK, and could not be happier. I mean, come on. I mean, there are worse vehicles you could have to drive, right? Yeah, so the deal is that's his for as long as he wants it. A year, 2, 3 years, whatever, I don't care. At least somebody's getting a good use out of it, and it's staying in the family. We're not going to sell that vehicle. We've already talked about this. That vehicle is never going anywhere. It may end up sitting in the garage for a long time if we've got something else, but that JK started this channel, and it will stay in the family. And so now he's driving it every day. He's already wheeled it a few times. He's already started tinkering with it a little bit, putting his own touches to it. But you'll see that on some adventures because that's what he'll be driving in the future. So the JK is not going anywhere, and I'm pretty happy that he now has the keys to that. So there you go. So XJ is gone, TJ is gone, and the JK is still in the family, and we're actually going to do a couple things to it. We've got the goose gear platform we got to put in there, and we just put some aluminum skid plates. We pulled the old skid plates off that were pretty bashed up. They were pretty beat up. Pulled those off, put some aluminum skid plates in there from Rock Hard 4x4. Pretty nice. So we did a little work, but we're going to pull the seats out and put a goose gear platform in there. What do we do? 60%. That's what we said. So we're going to save the one seat. That way he lives in that thing because he lives in the barracks, and so he's got all his packs and stuff in the military in there. Okay, my wife's Jeep. What is going on with that? Why haven't we lifted it yet? Good question, fair question. I get asked all the time. She loves her Jeep. She drives it every day. She smiles when she drives it. She loves off-roading it. And we have been delaying putting the lift kit on because of two boxes that are sitting right over there, which we finally got in, which are some Rock Slide Engineer side steps. So the Jeep next week is getting lifted, and then after that, we will be installing those Rock Slide Engineering side steps. I'm gonna do those side steps here in the garage because I'm really excited to see how those install. I've heard, pros and cons about it being easy. We'll see. I'm actually going to do an install video. I haven't done that in a little bit, so that'll be fun. And we'll see how easy those are to install. But then it'll be lifted. She'll have the side steps. We'll take her out on some trips and let her wheel that in the new form. It'll be pretty cool. So that's what's going on with her Jeep. She loves that thing. Sitting behind me, the Cherokee Chief, the 79 Cherokee Chief, which, I don't know. Is it my favorite Jeep? I think so. Jordan?
Yeah.
I think it's probably the favorite.
Cool.
It's pretty cool. But look, I said when I first got this wasn't going to be a big build series on this thing. It's just something that, I'm happy to have a classic vehicle. Like come in the garage and tinker with it. We've done a lot of work to it already. It runs and drives great. No issues with that. The springs are a little stiff, so I'll probably swap out the leaf springs for something that's a little softer. We did get the interior redone. In fact, I'll throw up a picture here right now of what that looks like. It turned out really well, but we still got to do all the side panels. Those aren't done. They did redo the steering wheel leather, so that all looks nice. The big thing that I'm working on right now, I don't know if you can see down there, is an aluminum radiator and fan shroud. So those are going to get installed, and then once those are done, then we can install the new vintage air conditioning and heating system, because right now it has no AC and no heat. And in the California summer, when you're out in the desert, forget that. You need to have air conditioning, and we're rolling into winter, and so we need to have heat. So it's not a bolt-in, plug-and-play kind of system. There's some custom work that has to be done, and so that's what we're working on right now. But that's what's going on with the Cherokee Chief. You will see this thing out on the trail soon. Once we get that stuff done, I'm going to take this out on some adventures. Maybe to one of those 50-state trips. I think that'll be cool. Okay, now, I guess if you follow me on Instagram, you already probably know what's going on. There is a new Jeep in the driveway. But before we talk about that new Jeep, let's talk about the Gladiator. Let's talk about Amelia. So I've had Amelia for about 14 months, 2020 Jeep Gladiator Rubicon, and I was so excited about getting the Gladiator truck. I got one of the first ones. We built it up for SEMA. The build was a little faster than I had hoped, and we did a lot to it really quick. And then we started kind of getting a little more practical with it, but we took it on lots of adventures. I've had that thing on a lot of places. And I think, if you have a big family, you got a lot of gear, you need a truck, you're going to be towing, the Gladiator is an amazing option. And it is, as far as I'm concerned, sorry guys that are other truck owners out there, but I think it's the best off-road midsize truck you can buy, period. I think Toyotas are great. I think Colorados are great. Ford Rangers are great. Those are all great trucks. I just think the Jeep Gladiator is the best off-road capable vehicle. But with that being said, why did I get another Jeep? Well, I think for what I do, which is usually it's just me or me and my son, so we don't have a big family, or my wife is coming with me, and the fact that we're hitting some pretty hard trails. I mean, most of the time we're out doing casual stuff, but every once in a while we get in the thick of it. I mean, we were in the Rubicon recently and had the Gladiator out there, and some of those long wheelbase departure angle weaknesses have, they've showed up in the Gladiator. And I think it's great for doing road trips. I mean, this 11-day road trip that we did, the Gladiator was awesome. Some of the overlanding trips that we've done where we didn't do anything technical, the Gladiator was awesome. But I think the Wrangler is where I personally I'm more at home with it. I mean, already driving this brand new Wrangler. Oh yeah, I got a brand new Wrangler. Diesel, by the way. I just love it. And it's so more nimble and so much more capable. Not to say that the Gladiator is not, but it does have its limitations. And so I'm going to do a full-blown, like, 1-year review of the Gladiator. I think that's a conversation that we can discuss this further about some of the pros and cons. There's a lot more pros than there are cons, but for me, I think I'm a smaller off-road vehicle guy. I'm not a big, long truck off-road guy, and so that's why I got the new Wrangler. And I will be going tomorrow to film the introduction of that vehicle so you can see what we got, and we'll talk about what the big plans are for it. And not really huge plans. We're not building this to be a show vehicle. We're building this to be a long-distance overland vehicle and go a lot of places, make sure it's reliable, not an over-the-top build. I can't say it's going to be modest, but it's not going to be crazy. Everything we're going to do is be very purposeful on the Wrangler, and so that's the plan. The Gladiator, am I going to get rid of it? Not right now. It's in the driveway now. We're going to continue to tinker on it. Maybe one of my other sons will drive it on a trip or whatever, so Jordan can drive his. JK, one of the other boys can take the Gladiator, I'll take the Wrangler. Who knows? We're not getting rid of it. It's still a very capable vehicle. It's really cool. I love it. But I think we'll probably hold on to it until the Bronco comes out, because we are planning on adding a Bronco to the lineup, because I think that and the Wrangler side by side, doing some off-road comparisons, I think that will be pretty cool. I'm really excited about the Bronco. I was thinking about doing a video about the Bronco, but I hadn't done that yet. But I may sit down and just kind of do a conversation about why I am excited about a Bronco and why I put my name on the list for one. So there you go. There's what's going on with our trips, with future trips. We're going to be hitting all those states. You know what's going on with the vehicles. At least you have a pretty good idea. We'll be talking more and more about the Wrangler, the new Wrangler. If you haven't seen it, go check us out on Instagram. You can check that out for sure. And again, I'd like to hear from you guys as far as what do you think about these Garage Coffee episodes? What do you think we should call them? Should we turn them into a podcast? Let me know what you guys want, because really this is all about you. I enjoy coming in here, hanging out, having my son laugh at me on the backside of the camera, drinking a little coffee. But I want to know what you guys want out of these videos, and so if you think a podcast would be cool, we'll do that. All right. I need to go get all my camera gear ready because we need to start filming this new Jeep. We'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching.